In this chapter, you'll learn techniques to add more life to your matte painting. We'll start by adding animated volume rays. Then we'll learn how to use 3D data to drive a 2D transform to animate static elements such as the lens flare. We'll add grain, chromatic aberrations, and finally we'll dive into render settings to optimize the quality and motion blur of the 3D elements. Alright, let's start with the volume rays. If you didn't follow along the previous chapters, but you like to follow here, you can open the file v24.nk in the nukes directory. Okay, so I am going to do some volume rays that comes from the sun and that will kind of go through the rocks and kind of give the feeling that it passed through, dropped shadows and a little bit of light. It's a little bit hard to explain with words right now, so I'll show you what I just did when I prepared this course, and this is something looking a little bit like that. So of course our shot will look a little bit different because we are starting from scratch here, and I just don't want to do a copy and paste of that node to recreate the new one, and as well because I'd like you to see my process when I'm trying stuff. This is going to be a little bit different than the previous chapter where everything is falling in place perfectly. Here we are going to do a little bit of trial and fail, so bear with me. But I think this is a great process to learn, to see how we actually try to think the effects and make it work properly. So I will come at the end of my comp and I will hit the tab key and look for volume rays. I will select that node and create it. And now this node is the node that will create the volume rays. If I hook up my viewer to it, for now there is just nothing. We do have this little volume position here that I can move around, but nothing is happening. For this thing to work, we need to plug an image. For example, let's plug the output of our asteroid here. Now that we have a shape, the shape that we are inputting to our volume rays will be used to generate rays. Right now, the mode that we are using is the luminance of the image that we are inputting. So what is going on here? Well, the thing is that we are using the luminance of that layer, so we are emitting from all the bright parts of the rocks. Well, this is not what I'm going to use, but this is just for demonstrating you how it works. Now, the thing that I want to use here is to actually use the alpha of those elements just to generate rays and give the feeling that all those rays are going around. So I will switch that guy from alpha edge. And now you can see that it's a little bit like the edges of my alpha were emitting lights, but it gives as well the feeling that there is a light coming from behind. And this is the effect that I'm going to use here. But I don't want to have only those first layer that cast those rays. I want all the asteroids to be part of the same thing. So what I'm going to do right now is to merge all my asteroids together to create that image alpha that I will use to drive the volume rays. Okay, so the first layer of asteroids are here. So I'll create a merge node and I will merge the B pipe here with the scanline render. So as we did in the previous chapter to merge the depth paths, we were like, well, we don't care about the order. Here we care about the order. It's important just to recreate the proper layout for this thing to work well. So now I will have on the top the second layer of asteroids. Then I will come here and I will add the third layer of asteroids. And finally, we have the last layer of asteroids here. Now, if I connect my viewer to it, I should have all my asteroids together. And I will use that and use that alpha to drive the volume rays. Okay? Perfect. Okay. So I will connect that guy to the volume rays node here. And let's see how it looks like. Well, for now it looks very weird, but it's a good start. Okay, so now basically those volume rays are supposed to come from the sun. So I will, even if it's not ready, right, I will create a merge node in order to merge my volume rays on the top of my scene. So we'll just merge everything after the Z defocus. And as we did earlier to set up the matte painting, it's important to choose a reference frame. So we will do the same thing here, choose a reference frame, and then we'll take care of the animation a little bit later. So for now, we always use the last frame to mock up everything. So I will keep using the last frame. So I will come to frame 1100 here. And I will now move the volume position to the position of my sun here. And you can experiment. You can just move the thing around till you find a position that you actually like. Okay. I think that this position is not too bad. Alright, so this is the first step of creating this volume rays. We created the image that will cast the rays. Now, let's move on to the next video to see how to tweak that volume rays node. See you there.